Hey, good morning, geometry. It's 7:05 and I'm about to hit the gym. Yeah. You know why? Because you know that bump guy that has a bumper sticker on his car that says, "Take it easy"? Yeah, that's not me. Okay. Let's talk about midpoints. And midpoints are pretty easy to think about. It's just the halfway point. If we had a line, so basically we're talking about one dimension here, just along the x-axis. And I don't know, let's just take a point, -8, and we'll go all the way up to 12. Well, there's a couple ways you can figure out the midpoint of this. The easiest way probably is to just think about the two numbers and take the mean of them. The mean, of course, is you're going to add them together and you're going to divide it by 2. So let's say that we just had x1 plus x2 and we divide it by 2. Okay, that's going to give you the midpoint. -8 plus 12, it's going to give you 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2, of course. So the midpoint of these 2 points is going to be the point 2. Another way that's a little more complicated that you can think about it is you can just take this distance and you figure out the distance by subtracting the 2. So let's say 12 minus -8, you're going to get 20, and you can divide that in 2. That's going to give you 10. Now, it doesn't mean we want to go to 10, but it means we want to add 10 to that lowest number, and we're going to get halfway of the distance. If you add 10, what a coincidence, you get 2. Anyway, that's just a couple of different ways to think of it. The nice thing about math is that you can do the same thing in different methods as long as you get to the same endpoint. Now, if you want to think about this in 2 dimensions, like on a coordinate plane, we got a y-axis, we got an x-axis. Let's pick a couple points. I don't know, let's say -1 up 3. So at point there, -1, 3. And over 1, 2, 3, over 5 and up 1. Okay, so right there. So 5, 1. If there was a line between those two, I'm looking for the midpoint of that line. Well, what you do with 1 dimension, you're just going to do that double for 2 dimensions. We're going to figure out the mean of the 2 x values, and we're going to figure out the mean of the 2 y values. Here's the 2 x values, -1 and 5. Add them together, you get 4. 4 divided by 2, your x value is going to be 2. The y value is 3 and 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 divided by 2, the y value is going to be 2. So at over 2, up 2, that is going to be your midpoint. We'll call it the point M maybe. That's the midpoint between these 2 values. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do a quick construction. We're just going to cut a line segment in half. It's called a segment bisector. So just put a line segment up here. Take your compass. And all you're going to do is put one end of the compass on the end of the line the segment. And you just have to move it out so you're over halfway. Do a nice little arch there, a nice little arch there. Come from the other side. Do a nice arch till you cross your first one. Go till you cross your first one. And then if you just draw a line through, or a line through those 2 crosses. You end up with a segment bisector. Okay? It cuts the line segment perfectly in half. That's all there is to it. Of course, we don't always have to exactly bisect a line or bisect something. Let's say that we wanted to go some fractional distance. Let's talk about one dimension again. And pick -5 and pick +5. This time we're not going to be able to, let's say we wanted to go a fifth of the way between those two. You're not going to be able to take the mean because the mean is designed to give you halfway, of course. So this time we're going to have to use that second method that I told you. We're going to have to figure out the distance. The distance, of course, you just subtract. So it doesn't really matter which one's x2, which one's x1. You're going to get the distance, or you're going to subtract the two, take the absolute value, because we really don't care about positive or negative. They're always going to be positive when we talk about distance. And then if we wanted a fifth of the way, we could either multiply that by a fifth or just divide that total by 5. That's going to give us a fifth of the distance. We're not going to go to that point. We have to add that fifth of the distance to the lowest one, and it'll get us there. So let's do this real quick. 5 minus -5 is going to give you 10. And we want a fifth of that, so divide by 5 or multiply by a fifth. That's going to give you 2. We don't go to 2. What we do is we go to the lowest number, and we add 2 to it. And it's going to get us to -3. A -3 is a fifth of the distance between those 2 points. Okay, let's talk about a coordinate plane for a second. 2 dimensions. We have an x and we've got a y. Pick, I don't know, any number. Let's go -1 up 2. Right there. -1, 2. I'm trying to draw these a little bit bigger so you can see them. And let's go over 3 and up 0. So this time we're going to figure out the distance between the x's and then figure out the distance between the y's, and we're going to do the same method as we did for the for the one-dimensional thing. Now we're just going to do it in 2 dimensions. So the distance between the x's is going to be 3 minus -1, which is going to be 4. And we're going to multiply it. We wanted a quarter of the way, so we're going to multiply it by a quarter or divide it by 4, and we get 1. Now, don't do anything with that yet. Just hold on to it for a second, okay? Let's do the same thing with the y's. Our highest y is 2. Our lowest y is 0. 2 minus 0, last time I checked, is 2. We're going to multiply that by a quarter, and we're going to get 1/2, which is the y. So we don't go to 1, 1/2 and put a dot. That's not going to give what you want. Remember, here's our points. If I drew a line between these 2 points, it would look like that. So you can eyeball it and you can say, oh, we want about a quarter of the way. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start at my first one, and I'm going to go to the right 1. That's going to get me to the y-axis. Do you see that? And as far as the y value, I'm going to start here and I'm going to go down 1/2. So it looks like on my bad graph here that it's going to be about right in here. That distance is a quarter of the way between those 2 points. So get your distance, either the y or the x, make it a quarter, and then just add that to your lowest number and you'll get there. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, I'm hitting the gym now. Bye.